All right, it's 5 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Get a roll call by the secretary.
Josh Pierce,
Present.
James Darden, where is that? Danny Hawkins.
Present.
Mark Allison. Jeremy Jones. Beth Deering.
Present.
Brian Dundee.
Present.
That's the roll. 7, 5, 2 absent.
Now we'd, any public comments, like to come to the podium. And just a reminder, you have 3 minutes. Any comments from board or staff?
No, sir.
So at this time, making approve the minutes from August 12th, 2025. I hope you guys have had the time to review these minutes that were provided to you. If the minutes look correct, or if there are any corrections, please make a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
We doing a roll vote, just a? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, on to new business. Consider a resolution from the Industrial Development Board of the City of Goodlettsville to the Economic Impact Plan for the Rivergate Mall Economic Development Plan Area and related docks as previously approved by the board.
All right, Josh,
Take
I'll take it and explain it, and then I'll ask Madison to touch on a couple items, and then Kate with Maris is here to answer any fill-in questions from there. So in this resolution, there's multiple things updated at the end of the resolution. You have Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. Exhibit A is your first amendment to the Economic Impact Plan. So in that first amendment, or in that Exhibit A, there were some verbiage cleanups that would match our agreement to the Metro IDB agreement, so that both of those would be more in line. This amendment also provides Maris the flexibility in a small section of the property to have the option for a land swap there. That area that we're talking about is 3 to 6 acres out of the total 58 or 57 acres of the site. Exhibit B is your intergovernmental agreement. That intergovernmental agreement is, of course, between the Goodlettsville IDB and the Metro IDB. There's a couple points in there. The Metro and the Goodlettsville IDB have agreed to share financial records and details related to this development. The developer will be providing to us, to this IDB, the Goodlettsville IDB, notice at least every year, but they also will be providing notice throughout they will be providing notice of demolition of the mall to this IDB once that takes place, and they will be providing updates throughout the project, at least annually, if not more frequently than that. So we will be seeing Maris and I'm sure Kate frequently. That is part of this intergovernmental agreement as well. Exhibit C was your development and tax incentive agreement. So this is just updated from the agreement that this board passed in May of 2025. It is updated to show the amendments from the First Amendment document that was in Exhibit A. And again, it puts some other provisions in there where Maris will have to return to the IDB upon completion of the demolition. and multiple times throughout the project to update this IDB. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Madison Haynes with Bradley to explain some of the other nuances of these documents.
Thanks, Alex. Great to be with you all. I am Madison Haynes, and I'm an attorney at Bradley. And I've kind of been brought in to pinch hit for the IDB on this specific TIF deal. And so kind of backing up, this is the inevitable second time that we would come before you, or this deal would come before you. Back in May, this board and the city council originally approved the economic impact plan. At that time, we knew the developer did not have the financing, set. They needed the TIF approved, then to take it to market. And we also kind of, about that same time, knew that a bond issuance with Metro would be forthcoming. And so Metro has agreed, and as part of this, the reason that this deal maybe even came to Goodlettsville was, originally Goodlettsville wasn't going to need to participate in the TIF, and then that need arose. And so Metro, who has a $42 million TIF for this project, they are handling all of the bond administration, all of that cost. Their IDB is issuing the bonds, and Goodlettsville's $5 million increment we're participating in that. And so because of that unique structure, it's kind of the need for some additional documentation arose. And then as well as I'm sure Kate will want to maybe speak to, is Kate here? Yeah. Kate can maybe give you an update, at least on the development timeline, and also why this land swap kind of need has arisen. So there's really two pieces to it. It's that the land swap and the development piece, and then there's a lot of language in here that really clears up the understanding between the Metro IDB and the Goodlettsville IDB, and the Metro IDB issuing the bonds. And so the first amendment to the economic impact plan really is exactly what Alex said, allowing for the flexibility to switch out the parcels when the time comes as necessary, and then know what we're going to adopt. Also outlaying how that land swap would work, and also including an exhibit that sets the base tax rate. That's the Exhibit C to that First Amendment. So that one it's a pretty simple, kind of cut and dried. The second document is the Intergovernmental Administrative Agreement, and it really is just Goodlettsville saying, yes, Metro, you can, issue the bonds for us. Importantly, Goodlettsville, you all, the liability has not changed. It's $5 million, and that's it. It's 15 years, and that's it, which is the original deal points that were approved back in May, and that they're of one kind of piece is that Goodlettsville is agreeing, instead of having to pay for its own disclosure report every year, which would be much more expensive, Goodlettsville is contributing 1% of up to 1% of the increments of the 5% for administrative costs to go towards a MuniCap report annually, which is a better deal for Goodlettsville to participate in that, and we've capped it. And Metro is able to tell us how much those reports, they use MuniCap for a lot of their bonds, and they were able to tell us how much that is, and it likely won't even hit the 1%. Tim?
No, I was just going to
Yeah.
say, this is something that we proposed in the beginning. Metro did not want to come alongside, come full circle. Now they do. So this is not something new, and it's something actually advantageous to us.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And then the third agreement is the development agreement, which looks pretty lengthy, but it is in substantially the same form as what you all reviewed in May, except that there's a lot of things that have been stripped out because the development agreement form back in May that you all saw allowed for kind of a typical reimbursement TIF with a bank loan without bonds, and those pieces have been stripped out and really clarified that that Metro's issuing the bonds and this is how it's going to go. And it, like Alex said, that there is still that mall demolition trigger that I think was really important for Goodlettsville to say that, Goodlettsville doesn't contribute a dime of its tax dollars to this TIF, bonds or no bonds, until the mall is demolished. which I think we all, Tim and Alex, and as we kind of had talked about it, you know, back in May, the deal might have been a little bit more amorphous. I think it's definitely real. You know, to know that if a developer walked away, once they demolish the mall, likely the project is materializing and it's really coming to fruition. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you all have. I know it was probably a lot of paper in your packet. And I think you've seen a lot of it before in a different form. Another thing I want to note is that Jim Murphy in my office, who was Metro's legal counsel for 20 years and has been in private practice for almost as long, we have both reviewed the bond documents, which Goodlettsville is not a part of, and y'all are not party to, but we've reviewed them just to make sure, and really reviewed those with, you know, the city and also the IDB in mind, and feel comfortable that those are all squared away, even though they're not things that you would approve. You're still implicated in those in the whole project. Generally.
Okay, so I actually have two questions.
Yeah.
One is in regards to the bond. So we have no fiduciary responsibility if there's a drawdown on one of those. We're
Correct.
not obligated at all. Okay. And then second, we have the map, but could we have the map up here for the land swap so I could really see it? I can't really see it on this form.
I can probably get to it.
And I'll note, just to kind of reiterate to that point about the fiduciary duty, the only thing that Goodlettsville is required to do is to, any increment that is generated from these parcels over the base tax amount and the dedicated tax amount, they have to transfer that to the bond trustee, period. That's it. There'll be that. Julie's probably lightning's gonna strike me for making that sound a little bit easier than I think what it will be. It'll, you know, the first couple of years, it'll take a little bit of figuring out, but in a sense of that, are you responsible for anything? If no increment ever materializes, there's nothing, you're not responsible and are not liable for any additional funds as part of that. While they pull that up, I'll also just highlight a few other kind of just highlights from here, not to listen to myself talk, but I'll point out that there are still the same prohibited uses on the site. So a beauty of a TIF is that you can limit what gets built there, and over and above regular zoning. And, you know, there's a list of quasi-noxious uses there on page 4 of the development agreement, things that, you know, maybe you wouldn't want to see in a new mixed-use development. Secondly, the mall, they have to begin construction by December 31st of 2028, which I think Kate would probably tell me is going to happen a lot sooner than that. So at the time, we didn't move the date, but that was the kind of original thought, and because we had no idea how long that was going to take to bring to market, but now the financing is crystal clear, and they probably are chomping at the bit, is more accurate of a term.
So Beth, is this what you were looking for? Okay. So basically, the two owners will either work out a land swap or will not. There will be an offset to this where other commercial property would come to the corporate limits of Goodlettsville if this land swap could not occur. And we have had discussions about that and feel comfortable at this point.
And part of the need too, that's a little bit different here, part of the need to have this and/or, if this was a regular TIF without a bond, this was just a loan, we could come back to you and amend it. Just have an amendment one time, amend the plan area. Why the need for all the exhibits is just baking in the certainty for the bonds, because there's a chance that the land swap may not occur by the time the bonds are issued, and just building in the certainty of the either or scenario, not the amalgamous, we're gonna come back and, or amorphous, I guess, come back and amend it later.
Kate, do you have anything, I mean, do you want to? No? Okay. Are y'all good? I mean, if y'all are good.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, I think Ms. Haynes has fully explained it. I think this moves the project forward. I believe there are certain offsets in there that will protect the interest of the city of Goodlettsville, but also not stop the progress as it is. There will be some construction that's outside our city that I would find interesting, but that's outside our control. So I'll make recommendation to you all to approve as presented.
I'll make the recommendation, Tim, to go ahead and approve the land swap.
Second that motion.
So roll call vote.
Josh Pierce,
Yes.
James Jordan, yes. Danny Hawkins,
Yes.
Beth Deering,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
5-0.
So, other new business, is the the review and score, or the redevelopment grant by Mr. Keith Edmonds. And Mr. Edmonds, you like to step up?
Is that what this is for this?
Hello. My name is Keith Edmonds. I'm new to town, but I'm hoping to open a coffee shop / speakeasy with, on the rear end, laser clinic to remove tattoos, skin beautification, stuff like that. But I'm here in front of you for the facade grant. We got the building at 114 North Main, and we're trying to restore the building back to its original grandeur and putting the front entrance back in it, and then bring the sidewalk up to meet that front entrance and make it ADA compliant, and with also a railing in front there so that people are protected from the high volume of traffic coming in and out of the establishment. Changing the windows so the windows can open and kind of create an airy atmosphere, and hopefully we can have live music there at some point. And so it'll be a coffee shop speakeasy in the front, and other things. We're going to put a copper awning on the front, on the front of the building where there's already an awning there, but we're going to cover it with copper, so it'll kind of just make it stand out a little bit more. And we didn't put on here the signage, but we're going to also do a lot of signage improvements on the building. But of course, that all has to get approved by the city before I can even present it to you. But that's in the works. That's another somewhere between $2,000 to $5,000 that we're going to put into the front of the building. So, so I think everything's in front of you right now. What we are planning to do, what's already in the works, already the inside's almost completely redone, electrical, plumbing, flooring, walls, everything. So we're trying to bring this building back to life and be a benefit to society here and the business of Main Street.
Which, 114 North Main, give me a landmark.
Yeah,
We're 2 buildings next to
the chamber.
Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
To it from the chamber in the strip center up here. It was it was a tattoo shop, so there was some stickers out there that said tattoo, I think, on it just several months ago before
Yeah.
he removed them.
It was abandoned for years. Somebody bought it, made it a tattoo shop. It only had a rear entrance and a stairwell. And then I've changed the rear entrance, the rear staircase, made it much more usable, much more safe. But it didn't have a front entrance. It had 3 windows, and it's just the smallest building in the antique mall row. And it just had 3 windows in the front, and that center window was put there after the building was originally constructed. It used to be an inset where you would walk in, and there was a door in there to enter the establishment, and we're putting that back. So we're making it so that you would come in off that main sidewalk and step into the building, of course, a ADA compliant ramp, and then the double doors to walk into the establishment.
Yep, and Mr. Keith's application, he supplied everything. We discussed his application and provided some more details and some more cost estimates. So the contract that you have is $81,000, which exceeds our $50,000. He's requesting $25,000 for the grant, which is our maximum allowable. And so he's meeting and exceeding that.
Alex, I had one thought on the matter. The applicant mentioned something about some sidewalk, ADA compliant improvements there, and I just wanted to make sure, I know you're very familiar with the Main Street redevelopment project. Is there an overlap there that, I mean, is he gonna
No.
have improvements and then TDOT come in and tear them out and redo them, or?
Yeah, so Keith has had discussions with Adam in the
Okay.
office about this sidewalk, and then he is also aware that any improvements he makes out there will probably be torn out in a future date.
Yes, sir. I'm improving the sidewalk for the simple reason is I want a front entrance. I want 2 entrances to the establishment for safety reasons. There is a staircase to the front to get to the front upstairs, and there is a rear door, but the rear door has been covered up by Litch Street, 14 inches, so the rear door is unusable, it's unsafe for the public to enter and exit from. So putting a front entrance on it was imperative to me, especially as a coffee shop, because a coffee shop and speakeasy would be more supporting for the surrounding community. People are gonna stop in there if they go shopping in the antique mall, if they're at the Chamber of Commerce, they're gonna stop in there and just be there for, a few minutes. So, to put that front entrance in though, I have to make the entrance ADA compliant, which involves raising the whole sidewalk in front of my building about 12 inches and installing a rail the entire length of my building to make sure that nobody that's in front of my building is going to walk into the street. So I understand that when you guys do go through with your sidewalk improvement, all of this stuff may be destroyed. But in order for me to start working and operating as a business, I need to do this right now to function. And so if you want to ignore that part, that's okay. I'm still going to be well over the 50,000.
I was just thinking of the time frame. Obviously you would like to move forward pretty quick, but I didn't know what the time frame was for TDOT, and we probably may not be able to nail it down within 6 months' time, but if they were going to come in right after the grant and tear it out and redo it and put it back substantially, basically the same way it was my only thought.
Well, I mean, it's gonna have kind of a concrete bollard border there and different things. And I guess the part that I'm really looking at, so there's about $13,000 in handrails and sidewalks.
Yes, sir.
That literally within 12 months is going to be torn out. And I know you're saying you're investing, but we're investing 50% of that.
Oh, excuse me, sir. If you would like to ignore those lines entirely, I'll still be way over your $50,000 threshold to meet the requirements to match the $25,000 half. So far, I've got close to $200,000 in the inside, plus the cost of the building, and so I'm going to be well above the $50,000 threshold without any sidewalk improvements at all.
Okay, because I would not recommend to this board approving that for the sidewalk portion. If this gentleman
sir.
wants to fund that himself totally, that's his call. But he is correct, his application's for up to $81,000. I think there's enough eligible expenses there to fall within that, but I think as far as the city of Goodlettsville investing in that part is not a wise decision in the grant funds and the intentions that it is and where we sit currently with the next part of the Main Street project.
Yes, so with those two items deducted, it would be $67,550 would be the total project amount at that time. So if there is a recommendation to accept the application and score it, then the recommendation would just need to be with those two items removed.
I'll motion that we accept the application with those two items removed for us to consider to score.
I'll second. No.
No, so this is based off of the scoring system, so everybody got a score sheet on your table. Josh can move on if he would like and get a motion to complete the meeting if you want to, and then everybody just score it based off of the requirements or the criteria that are on that score sheet, and then just turn them into me as you leave. And then we'll score, I'll score it tomorrow, and then you have to meet a maximum score, average score. As long as you meet that, then the grant is approved.
Okay, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I can make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Adjourned.